Big containers, planters, and troughs, like this one here, are really great to plant in, but they can be really expensive to fill them. I'm going to show you the steps and easy steps to fill them with 75% less the cost. Doesn't that sound good? Let's get going. This box here is about 2 foot deep. And if I were to use a bunch of good potting soil or high quality soil, then it can get really expensive even to fill this. And sometimes those troughs are even larger, so you can use this same concept for everything and save yourself a grundle of money. First things first, you want to make sure you have some drainage holes in your container. Now if it sits right on the ground and it doesn't have a bottom, obviously you don't have to worry about it. But we want plenty of drainage so it doesn't collect water and create an anaerobic condition in there, which just means no air. And plants need air for their roots. I trimmed my apple trees, and rather than shred them or throw them away, I decided to use them in my planter box here. So I used them on the bottom, and I started with the larger sticks first. Just cut them in lengths and laid them on top of each other, leaves and all. And so this will just be filler. This works really good because they'll break down over time. Plus, as they start to break down, they'll kind of act like a sponge and hold a lot of that moisture in. You can even use logs in the bottom of this. It just takes them a little bit longer to break down, but it has the same purpose. And wood chips work really well too. They all hold moisture. I have a couple of don'ts for you, and one of them is not to use rocks or gravel in the bottom. Believe it or not, it actually, after time, causes it to where the water doesn't penetrate very well. So the other thing that I get a lot of questions with, and I see it on the internet a lot, is styrofoam peanuts. Well, they're inorganic. And then if you ever have to dump out your soil for any reason, you've just got a big mess. So it just doesn't make sense to even go there. Over the top of the apple branches, I put some bean bushes that I just pulled out of the garden. So basically what I'm saying is you can use any garden debris, you can use grass clippings or leaves. This is all organic matter. And this is just going to be filler on the bottom. So, 2, 3 inches, 4 inches, you can fill that in with any of your garden waste. Okay, so I've also added some goat manure. It has some hay in it. That's just more filler. It went right over the top of those beans. It really doesn't matter the layering, other than you definitely want to keep the sticks on the bottom. Okay, now that I've got those few ingredients in there, I'm going to want to step in there, get a little exercise, stomp it down, just so that it kind of settles and gets in those little air pockets. This kind of helps fill in so that it doesn't sink as much later. If you make your own compost, and hopefully you do, because this is where you're really going to save. So about a week and a half ago, I started some chicken manure compost, and it wasn't all the way broke down, but it's totally fine for something like this. And so I went ahead and filled it in and watered it so that it can settle a little bit, but I filled it to about 8 inches from the top. Most plants don't have a deep root system, so 6 inches is usually ample for good soil. All of this is going to be really good eventually. It's going to take some time to break down. But while it's breaking down, those roots are starting to develop and grow. So they all kind of work cohesively together, and it's beautiful how it works out. So on the top of this, I'm actually going to repurpose some potting soil that I've already used for some annuals that I grew earlier in the season. And so as you can see, I've got some roots in here, and they're okay. They're all dried up. And I'm just going to spread these out and use the rest of this potting soil to save even more money. This is all good soil. It has lost some nutrients, but that's where the good potting soil is going to come in the top. And I can always add just a little bit of fertilizer to this if I need to. The top portion of this planter is where you want the good stuff. This is where you want your really good soil, because this is where the plants are going to start out. So you could mix your own soil by using a combination of vermiculite, compost, and coconut coir, equal parts, or you could just buy a box mix that's meant for things like this, or just a good potting soil, which is what I'm going to use today. If you're getting value out of this video, give us a thumbs up and cultivate that subscribe button. Okay, so I'm going to be using some Cocoa Bop. It's already got fertilizer in it, like bat guano and some other goodness in there. So I've only got like 1/3 of the bag left, and I don't even think I'm going to be using that. So really my cost is like $5 for this whole entire planter. So I've used up a lot of waste, and this will eventually break down and become some of the most wonderful soil. And meanwhile, I can still plant in it. So that's pretty cool. if you're worried about all of this raw material that we have in here robbing nitrogen from the soil, well, don't, because all of that stuff is down below and it'll all work out just fine. All of your good soil's on the top. They're separated so you won't run into any problems. There's so many fun and useful planters that you can repurpose. You can use old wash tubs. We've taken a couple of fire rings and actually connected them together so that we have more depth and we grow our perennial herbs in. We've also gotten some free horse troughs from farmers. A lot of times they'll just give them away because the bottoms have rotten out and it's no good for them anymore, but it's actually good for us because we don't have to make drainage holes. They're already there and the outsides are totally good. This box here was actually a hot tank that we're repurposing, and we call it the Rusty Creature. If you want to check out its history, you can go back to the Planting Crops in August video to see a little bit more about it. But I had Kevin kind of fix this up a little bit. He's usually pretty creative to add some just fun little elements. He's put some handles on it. He's added these little arms that stick out so that we can have like a fold-out table out here by our fire pit so that when we're out here we have a place to actually put some food. He's added some other little fun elements on this. So this makes it really fun. You can be so creative with things that you find. So now the Rusty Creature is ready for planting. You can put flowers in these, you can put vegetables in these, and then you just watch them flourish with all of this great soil. Till next time, see ya. Oh, I said a combination of flowers, not cauliflower.